Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here tonight with Stälker, Black Magic
Woo!
out right now on Napalm Records as of October 30th. How you guys doing?
Great. How fucking hell are you doing?
I'm
How's
doing
lockdown?
great. I'm doing great. Perhaps not as good as you guys. You guys look really excited to be here.
Yeah.
Well, we just got up. Sunny day outside.
Cup of coffee. Fucking loving it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to chat about the record. I honestly really enjoy this album. It kind of came out of nowhere for me because it wasn't really on my radar. It was perhaps down under, if you will. And then it finally climbed up into my radar. And once I started listening to it, I was like, what has just happened? What is this? What is Black Magic Terror and who is Stälker? So can you guys answer those two questions?
Well, I sometimes ask myself the same question.
Fuck, I don't know. Well,
we are Stälker, me, Dave, and Nick from Wellington, New Zealand. This is our second full-length album on Napalm Records. And the title of the album is Black Magic Terror. And I guess I'll let Dave tell you about what Black Magic Terror is.
what's left to say?
Is that what you want? You want to hear what it's about?
Yeah. Like, where did you guys get the name for this record? Because this album has a little bit of darkness in it. There's definitely a lot of magic. And when you put it all together, it becomes terrorizing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Summed it up.
Not a, it's not all about magic and sorcery. I mean, it's not a full fantasy concept album, but you want to elicit like an amount of terror. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What was the most challenging part of putting this record together?
Fuck, writing Holocene End was a son of a bitch. It was like the most fun I've had writing a song in a long time, but that nearly broke me. It was definitely writing outside of my bubble. It was good. It was a really good song. Have you heard it?
I said one of the first things I said on my review, and one of the first things that I felt after I listened to the album, is that I felt like you guys recorded this back in 1985. You put it in like a time capsule, and somehow that capsule just got to me now, and I open it up and I listen to it. It has this incredible throwback sound, feel. Everything about this album feels like it came straight from that time period. Is that something that is perhaps because you guys are influenced by that time period, or is there something specific about that sort of sound that you guys gravitate to?
There's a couple of things with that. I mean, it is a throwback, it is retro, but that's not what we plan to go out and be like, we're gonna just recreate an 80s album. It's the style of music. I don't think it can be done any other way. If you use modern production and modern techniques for mixing and recording, I don't think it's going to come out the same. Maybe it might relate to some other fans that are more used to modern music, but not for the diehards who love the style. So
we listen to like 90% old school metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a whole, recreating the kind of thing, but I think it's more just natural progression, and I don't mean progression as in you're going somewhere else. It's just, I don't want to hear any kind of modern production on a old school sounding record. That's pretty much bottom line, Apart from that, I guess as we were mixing it, so first of all, we used a really old console analog desk. Our friend Cam Sinclair in Auckland, he's always adding gear to his studio, and he got hold of a really old school analog desk, and he refurbished it and hot rodded the desk for about a year before we went to him, which was absolutely perfect because that thing was ready. As soon as we were ready, it was ready. And he was spending about a year on that console desk. And, once it went through that desk, it also sounded a feel to it as well. So there was a few situations where along the mixing way it came out the way it did. That was one contributing factor. I guess that's about it. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to know about that?
Well, my next question was going to be, considering that this is the second record that you guys were putting together, was there any lessons learned from the first album that you transported yourself into this one and allowed this one to be even better?
Lessons.
I would say definitely. There's always learning for every record you do, even if you are. I mean, this is like I had an old band, I had a record and an EP or whatever, and so this is like my third album. Not much on the scheme of things, but hell yeah, you definitely learn a lot. And even if you don't learn, you just learn the process more and more and more. And I think you come to what you want quicker. Yeah. So you know what you want more and more. Yeah. In terms of lessons learned, I think time is always a big thing, having enough time to do everything. And that could be that could also work against you, too much time, this thing's going to take 3 years,
I was going to say, are you the kind of guys that overthink sometimes things a little bit? So like if you have too much time on your hands, you start like second guessing yourselves. It's like, is that the right riff? Is that the right sound? Do we want to change something here? Do you want to change something there?
I think everybody suffers from that to some degree, and we're not immune either. So we were early on giving ourselves quite a strict deadline and like quite strict sort of criteria to work to. So, if it's good, it works. If it doesn't work, ditch it. We'll keep going. We'll take another approach. We were conscious not to like keep trying to polish a turd. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And some songs come like that, and some you need to work on. Man, worst thing in the world is just going around in circles on a song trying to get it right. I'd rather just fucking forget about it and move on.
You never know. Maybe it'll come back to you later on for another 100%. Record.
Yep, no problem. No loss there. That's, somewhere on our hard drive or recording device somewhere.
Do you guys see the overall structure and the way this record is put together as simple, or is that a deceiving aspect of how the album sounds?
Oof. Well, yeah.
I think it's simple. I think it's, deceivingly simple. It's not as simple as you say, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing new here in terms of the setup or the execution. I was reading a couple of reviews and, thank God, mostly positive. But, some people are like, it's too far, it's too the same throughout, it's too, I want some, dynamics and that. But man, you can have anything and there'll be a problem,
I read that same review, those same reviews, yeah. and they were like, you came so close to getting it. Like, that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted to make.
I was just going to say, but for an album, I think everything has to be put into perspective, right? Like, for an album like this, for the band that you guys are, for the sound that you're putting together, you guys are not a prog band. You don't need a 15-minute track in there. Like, you don't need to go on this weird journey where you see unicorns and all sorts of stuff with the music that you're playing. That's not
against. I'm not against that, but doing it for its own sake, just to, just for whatever reason. But if it doesn't add anything, there's no point.
But
we were really conscious about like cutting the fat on all these songs, not letting them sort of balloon out too much and get too full of themselves. You want like the tightest, like most efficient delivery system you can get.
And another thing is it is a one-trick pony. It is for the speed metal thrash fans. I'd hate to review this if I was into all sorts of music. Do you know what I mean? As a reviewer, that's what you got to do. But and thankfully, a lot of people do say, this is for this group of people. If it's for everyone else, take it with a grain of salt or whatever. And it's like, well, it's not made for those people.
I think you always have to approach it and look at it for what it is. And that's like, for me personally, I don't even like to look at the previous album and say that this one is better than the previous one. I think each album has to stand on its own. And I think you have to judge each album based on how that album sounds.
Yeah.
I'd go even further and say I'd judge each song. Like try and judge each band's song, like alone in its own context. Like I'm not loyal to any band, you know, who's had a 40-year career. Like 99% of their songs suck, but they might have one sick song, and I'm like, cool song.
Yeah.
Like that was a cool song. And if I saw them on the street, I'd say that song was cool. And like that, you know, I'm not
just that one.
That's right. Like I need to feel like I am allowed to like what I want to like, you know. So,
and then they can walk away and go, I wonder why you only said one song was good.
Yeah, exactly. We have like 3,000 songs, and he only said that one song was cool.
Yeah.
They'll be thinking about that for the rest of their day.
Yeah.
One
so
of the elements,
should, really.
yeah,
Sorry?
that was a good song.
Yeah, I mean, if he knows that one sticks out, then, you know, he's got to have a think about what he's writing.
you know, it's just like you just have to start thinking, we have to make more songs like that, just make them sound slightly different.
Yeah. Or he's probably like, who are you? Well,
Yeah.
you know, no one's told me that before.
Yeah.
One of the main elements of this record is definitely the guitars. I mean, the guitar sound on the album, the speed that it has, the tempo, the momentum, how ferocious it is. How would you describe the overall guitar sound, but also the overall sound on this record?
Yep. So we've always wanted to kind of dial everything back a little bit in terms of noise and not noise, keep the noise, maybe in terms of clarity and distortion. I mean, distortion's always a tricky one.
It's a tricky one.
With every band, you know, how much distortion do we have and how does it sit in the mix with the rest of the instruments? Up until now, I think we've covered everything that we've wanted to do. And on this one, since we had a bit more time and people helping, I think we were able to explore that sound a bit and hear it how we kind of wanted to hear it. And of course, you know, like yourself, you probably know a guitar on its own, you know, you might be like, oh, that's cool, you know, and then you put the bass on or the drums on and you start mixing and then, you know,
things change.
So
all of a sudden, I spent so long crafting this guitar tone, but now it sucks.
So
now the bass on it.
I'm more of a, and probably most people are if they're in our situation, you know, you can't look at just the individual sound as a whole. So once we heard it in its first mix with kind of the a bit less of how would you describe the distortion sound? Abrasiveness, I guess, of that distortion can bring. It turned out like we really heard the album for the first time early on how it was going to sound, and we were like, yes, this is the one, you know. And probably kind of ever since then it kind of just, you know, slightly got better from there, and that we were happy. I guess it's kind of got a late 70s, early 80s kind of, you know, sound to it, which is cool. I mean, the advantage of making music in, well, I guess since the last 10, 20 years, but probably 15 years since everyone's got access to equipment at home to record with, you know, and then you kind of, I guess that's not right. I guess you can say, looking back at any genre after 2000, you know, if you want to recreate if you want to write a genre that's, you know, from the early 80s, you've got a lot more equipment and techniques available, where back then they were using what was there. So we can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. I think basically now you can go back in time because you have the technology that allows you to go back. You have so much at your display, but back then they were very limited. They had to do a lot with very little.
That's it. Very little, but very probably good quality shit. I mean, you know,
But imagine what they could have done if they had the stuff that we have now.
Also, do you think they would have also run the risk of being overwhelmed with possibility?
Maybe. I mean, sometimes having less makes you do more because you become a lot.
That's
you become more creative, right? Like, I mean, now that's one of the things that I find these days is people don't have to be as creative because everything is always there for you. Like, you know, and we live in a disposable society. So when something breaks, you just go and you buy something new. But back in the day, either you didn't have the money or you didn't have the ability to do so. So you had to be a lot more creative and you had to find solutions. Like I normally say, you had to be a little bit more of a MacGyver.
Yeah. That's an old school reference there.
Yeah, definitely. So things change. Things change with time. Is there a song on this record that stands out for you guys, either as being a problematic track or being a track that from the moment you guys started putting it down, you knew that this song was going to be it was going to be on the album?
What's hot? What's not?
I would say.
For you, what's up?
I would say. Oh man, I had it when he said that. I was probably going to say. No, not problematic. More just in terms of you know, is it going to fit on the album and how does it sound? I'd probably say. Yeah, that was always one, but that at the end of the at the start it would have been Holocene Zen because it's different, but at the end, once the album was done, I was like, no, that one's good. Probably for me, it was Iron Genocide. Yeah, just a lot of riffs and a lot of different things. I just always had. I probably because we finished it last as well. The chorus on that was the last thing we did. We actually, you know how you were saying, was there a what was he saying before about? You know how you were saying before about you know, going over and over and over trying to find it and trying.
Yeah.
I had that problem with the chorus of Iron Genocide. Yeah, we went through about 5 different versions. Yeah. We had a demo tape with one, and then we were like, man, something's not fitting. It was the last chorus that we had to go back and fix before we handed it in. And I think we beat that one to death a bit, and hopefully it turned out.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys didn't throw it out. I really like that song on the album, so I'm glad you guys didn't say, enough of it, let's chuck it.
Yeah, it was the chorus just in my head, and we couldn't figure out. And of course, we were trying to, you know, everything has to be recreated live as well. So we're thinking we can't do anything out of the box.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about is how did the whole thing come together? Do you guys wait until you get to the studio to, you know, do the final touches on what the record is going to be like, but you go in already having 98% of the work done? How does it work?
Yeah, we record first. Yeah.
Record everything, bring it in, and then massage it when you need it in the studio. Just
deep tissue.
Say again?
Deep tissue massage.
Yeah, deep tissue massage, a Thai massage.
Hey, look, Pedro, I drew you something.
Oh, that's badass.
That's a soccer ball.
I thought it was a basketball, but I'll take it.
I know you love soccer.
It's a basketball.
It looks more like a basketball, but I'll take it.
Okay. I'll send you a photo of it.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I'll post it on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
I love it. So you guys take almost the finished product to the studio then?
Yeah. We demo everything. We get it exactly how we want it, and then we take it to our mixing guy.
And it gets.
Yeah.
He pushes it. It pushes.
So we record everything ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, it can't get any worse than what we have. It can only get better.
Well, that's not the right attitude to have, but considering the final results with the album, it worked out perfectly fine.
Yeah. I think we knew what we were doing. We knew what we wanted, and we knew the guy can get it there.
Now there is something that we have now, I guess, that benefited us is when we recorded the guitars, I guess and the bass as well. We recorded a backup of a DI of it when we were recording, and we ended up getting our mixing guy to reamp the guitar through a different amp and get the sound that we wanted. He was like, I can do better than what you've got. And I said, if you can get better than what I've got, I'd be very happy, but I highly doubt that you can. Yeah. And so next thing he knows, he showed me what he done with my guitar tracks, clean. And it turned out to be,
better than what you had.
than what I had, and I'm very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had to admit defeat.
Yeah, I admitted defeat, humble. I ate my words. More than happy to say I'm wrong, but I really, was surprised, and that was cool.
I mean, it happens like maybe once every 10 years, so.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe not. By the way, how has this pandemic affected you guys? And did you guys consider or thought about pushing the release of the album because of everything that is happening, or you guys didn't care? This was the time. This was the approach.
Good question. And very, there's a bit there that's exactly right as well. So we originally wanted this album out last year, but there was just no way with the amount of work it needed. Well, not it needed, but the amount of time to record and write an album while we're at full-time jobs as well, of course. I mean, so I'm sure probably everyone does have a full-time job, except for those lucky musicians that don't.
Except for Metallica, maybe.
Yeah. And so, so we've been to Europe the last 2 years, which has been absolutely fantastic. And that, for us organizing a tour like that, and probably same with other bands, it is a whole year in advance, and it is a whole year planning and that, and that takes it out a year, and there's time in that. So when it was time for this year, and we knew the record was going to come out this year, we were like, okay, we're not going to plan to go to Europe because we want to have a new album for everyone. So we thought no traveling far away this year, and this is end of last year we were thinking, and we'll get the album done, and then we can go play again with new songs and stuff like that. And so we knew the album was going to come out around probably halfway throughout the year, maybe second half of the year. Okay. And then I guess January, February, where we saw on the news what was happening, and we were like, okay, that's everyone's tour plans off for every band. So we were like, okay, that was probably good timing for us because we weren't going away, and if we can't go away, then no one can go away, But then obviously we saw how bad it was, so that's not a joking matter. That was just, And then it was like, well, fuck, we got this album ready. No one's going anywhere. There's no way we can wait till another year, because we didn't want to wait another year because we're a bit late for us, for our schedule. And then we thought, fuck it, put it out, write another one. There's no point in waiting. So it kind of might be a benefit as well, because not many records have come out this year, by the looks of it. Maybe a lot of people are holding on to their records till they can go on tour with their records, like a proper band does, they do a mass, that's probably their livelihood, and they'll go tour on that album, which one day I'd love to do. But, so that's pretty much the answer to that question. Is definitely thought about it, definitely thought, no, we're going to put it out because it's been a while. And you know what? Everyone's at home listening to records. I mean, they're not going out. Maybe they've got a bit of money saved from not going to shows. I don't know,
Me personally, I'm listening to more music now than ever before.
Yeah.
Because I can't go to any shows. I can't go anywhere. So I'm just like, if I'm going to be home, might as well listen to new stuff. So I'm always looking for new stuff and always listening. I think that's the most, I think that applies to almost everybody. And I think holding it until next year, you're going to have this onslaught of albums being released, one on top of the other. The
lockdown album.
Yeah, there's going to be so many good albums next year that nobody's going to listen to, because there's just going to be this overflow of records that, like, you're going to pick and choose what you want. So I don't know if holding it up, I think you're almost better off releasing a record with less songs, holding 3 or 4 or 5 for an EP. And then if you want to go on tour, then releasing an EP and then going on tour. That way you have new material plus the record, and Bob's your uncle.
So another thing is, it came up in the news, well, not in the news, but, every country's different, but they were looking at, it's election time here in New Zealand, same as other places in the world. And they were looking at, the opposition, or was looking at getting rid of some of the arts funding. Not that we have much, but I mean, while everyone's on lockdown, that's what everyone's doing. They're watching movies, shows, TV, listening to music, all art stuff, while they're on lockdown. So that's just what people do when they, I guess, for entertainment.
And does the geography of where you guys are, does that play a role, either positive or negative, in how successful the band can be?
100%. Yeah, we've definitely found, and I knew from a while ago that being in New Zealand, you are starting like at an unfair disadvantage. You're starting like way out the back while Europe's up the front, ready to start, you know, and you're in the changing room still getting your gears on, you know, because they can just go, man, I forgot how small Europe is, you know. I mean, a big place, but you drive 3 hours, you're in your country.
Yeah, yeah.
We
100%.
drive 3 hours here and we're fucking
in someone's
in
paddock.
Yeah,
know?
and not only that, but it's pretty cheap to travel across Europe. Way
Yeah.
cheaper than, even for me, I'm in Canada. Our country is massive. It's so expensive for me to go from, it's cheaper for me to go from Canada to Europe than it is for me to travel across the country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you're in a band in Canada and you did a tour, you're not going to go around Canada. You know what I mean?
It's too big, and there's only a few cities that could accommodate a show. So it's almost
Exactly
not.
the same as
We
here.
have maybe 4 cities. Like a tour of New Zealand is, you could do it in a weekend or 2 weekends.
Yeah.
You know, and then like best case scenario, you're playing to the same, you know, fucking 10 people and your mum next weekend. You know what I mean? So
I get that. I get. Unfortunately, I'm getting the mental picture now of that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. But at least now, I think you guys in New Zealand, you can play some shows now, can't you?
Oh yeah. We've got our release show next Friday. Big release party in our hometown. Unrestricted.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to ask you. You guys were able at least to play a release show.
So on the upside of being so far away, I never thought I'd say it, but I'm glad to be here at this time in 2020, so far away from everyone, because on a small island with, 0 cases, it's easy to manage for the government. So
I think you guys are the safe haven of this post-apocalyptic world that we're living in. I never thought I would say this, but I wish I was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of rich people have started a long time back, started buying up land and building sort of bunkers and things. It's kind of common knowledge around New Zealand that
Celine Dion,
James Cameron.
Really? Wow.
They're all the same.
Wow, you guys are having a douchebag invasion.
Yeah.
You know?
You did say it already.
Wow. One last question for you guys. With the album release party coming out, the album is out already. Anybody can pick it up on iTunes, on Napalm's site. I mean, there's all different things. You can get vinyls, you can get CDs. You can get in all different. I think even cassette. If I remember seeing it, I think you can get that nostalgic cassette. I don't know if you buy a cassette if it comes with a pencil for you to rewind the tape or not, but we can throw that in for free. So with all of that happening, what are your expectations for this record?
Man, I just hope we sell a lot of records and the people that get it love it. That's all.
Yeah,
Really.
Things have changed. The world's changed a lot,
The world's changed a big time.
man. So like, what can you hope for? You just want to put out a record.
I just want people
somebody's gonna love it out there. Maybe take it jogging with them, fucking air punch, do a high kick,
put
out
it
on
up.
the street.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I've got no expectations. As long as people are, happy with finding a new album in 2020 and they love it, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
I don't go to the gym, but if I did, I would be listening to you guys because that shit will get you pumped up.
I don't go to the gym either, Pedro.
So, okay, I don't feel too bad.
Nah, he does.
I think gym is overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you got to do something. I hate the gym more than anybody. Trust me. Like, I've been once or twice. It sucks. It fucking sucks. I do not recommend it.
However, I do have some muscles.
You do have some big pipes.
Ah, man. Stretching like hurts stretching like that.
Yeah.
But maybe, maybe those pipes is just good genes. You don't need to go to the gym.
It's Greek.
Greek muscles. You know what we did in Greece to get these?
Yeah, maybe if we did some ancestry DNA, we find out you're like still part Zeus.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hope so.
You never know. You never know. On that note, guys, thank you very much for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure. It was a blast to talk to you guys. I absolutely love the record. And if it wasn't for COVID, I probably wouldn't have even heard the album. But being stuck at home and seeing that album hit my inbox, and the name of the record was appealing to me, and the name of the band was appealing to me, and I was like, okay, the album cover was really throwback. I was like, okay, I gotta check these guys out. The moment I pressed play, you guys had me for the whole record. I was in, and I was not leaving that train. Sorry?
Was it the first time you heard the band?
That was the first time I heard the band. I went in with zero expectations.
So we listened to your review, and I think everything that we wanted to get across as a band and as on this record, I think you nailed 150%. So we are very happy that the points that we worked hard to get across got across.
Yeah.
Perfectly to someone like you and hopefully others.
I think a lot of people will get what I got out of the record, because you guys, like, that's why I asked you that question earlier about feeling like the album is simple, because I think there's a simple approach in terms of how I digested the album. It was not like one of those albums that I'm like, oh, I wonder what they meant by that. And I have to go into a deep, dark corner and then ponder about it, you know?
But sometimes those are the best ones too.
No, and I'm not saying anything against them, but the way the sound on this album, like when you look at the whole record, the sound, the way it's put together, the structure, the music, the vocals, the recording, all of that, it's all small pieces of a big pie. And if one of those pieces is not done in the way you guys did it, that whole pie is ruined, right? So I just love the fact that the album had all of these pieces, which it makes it complex. But the way for me as a listener to listen to it, it was simple. It was easy for me to digest and process it. So it had that ability to have a lot of moving pieces, but still feel like an album where I can just sit back, headbang, enjoy, and then press play again when the album is over because I need another dose of it. That's kind of the record that I got, and I loved it.
Awesome.
Perfect.
It's fucking well articulated. Like,
I tried. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time. It was an absolute blast.
Cool, man. Enjoy the rest of your night, eh?
all right.
You too, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Okay. See ya.
Take care.